Alright, hi, what's up on my beanie weenies, and welcome back to my channel. I am, of course, Hot Dogs, and we are here for another week, another episode of Sims 4 Survivor Oasis, and today we are going to be checking up on the tribes, seeing how they're doing after the elimination, and then we are also going to be having our second luxury competition. But let's go head over right away to the Green Sand Trap Tribe, as it's day 5 on their campsite, and they were the first team to have to go to Tribal Council on Friday, and they voted out Irwin. So I gotta say, part of me is a little glad that Irwin is not in the competition anymore, because I have a hard time saying his name. Every time I say Irwin, it sounds like Owen. I don't know how to make it any clearer, so I'm kind of glad he's gone. But if you watched Friday's episode, which hopefully you did, you will know that I announced the twist and what puts Oasis in Survivor Oasis. So Irwin was eliminated. He was voted off of his tribe, but he is not completely out of the game. So he was actually sent off to a luxurious oasis, and he's there to live out his life in paradise, to work out, to have a good time, and hopefully come back in the game. When and how, all of that will be determined later. For now, we got to focus on the Green Sand Trap Tribe. So as you saw, Vesepia went straight away to the bar. That's kind of her area now. She's constantly bartending, working on that skill, and socializing with whoever's around her. Meanwhile, Fabio is working out. He actually does a variety of different things in the gym. A lot of them kind of just do one or the other and then leave, but he actually stays in there for a long time. He's really building that skill and getting nice and muscly and strong, which will most likely help in competitions. So at first I thought it was pretty nice that all the girls were kind of hanging out in the kitchen together, but of course, like, as soon as Natalie really joins the conversation, Aliana leaves. And as we saw in Tribal Council, there is a small feud going on between Aliana and Natalie. So I'm really curious. I'm going to watch out for the two of them, see if anything starts to boil over. However, Johnny ends up coming in, replacing Aliana, and kind of trying to smooth and get along with the girls and kind of really fit in with that group. Now, since the Green Tribe has lost one member, they are down to 7 castaways, which does mean that 4 is the majority. So if these 4 could form something, they could run this tribe. And as we know, it was originally a tie between Irwin and Eliza at Tribal Council. So Eliza is also having to go around, try to make better connections with everyone. That way, if they were to go to Tribal Council again here this week or soon, it won't be her going home now that she knows that she's really on the chopping block. Aliana is taking some time out for herself and carving some wood, getting some aggression out, kind of focusing on something, maybe meditating, being able to think about what she wants to do in the game. I've honestly really noticed her taking more time for herself recently. I felt like before she was talking a lot more, but she was getting angrier a lot more. Now it seems that she is trying to calm down, but by doing that, she's not talking to people as much, which could hurt her in the social game aspect. But she is focusing a lot on hobbies, so who knows. And then everyone else is mainly just inside, pretty much everyone else except for Johnny. They're all hanging out inside, getting along, and trying to get to know each other a little bit better. I think, Brian and Eliza, those two especially, need to work a little bit harder. But I honestly think the person in the best position right now is probably Vesepia. She's constantly bartending. Everyone's always gathered around her, talking to her. She's kind of in the middle of everything in camp, which I think really helps. And then also, if you look, her skills really are improving. She's able to do tricks with the bottles and stuff like that. However, the issue with being so good at a hobby, and especially relying on that, I haven't really seen her do much of anything else apart from she painted that one time with Natalie, but that's really about it. Is that who knows when this bartending competition will be, and if she'll even make it there. So she does need to kind of spread it out a bit more, but she's pretty impressive at bartending so far. I don't know what her skill points are at. I haven't looked at anyone's skill points, but she's doing pretty good. Eliza seems pretty sad, but she's still sticking with the group, unlike these two. Johnny has been in the gym for a while, and Aliana has eventually came to join him, but they're not really talking that much. They're really just focused on working out. So they eventually do head out of the gym. Aliana actually ends up fire dancing outside, which is pretty fun. I love when they do that. And then everyone actually ends up all kind of merging together finally and really spending the day together for a little bit. I mean, this tribe has always been closer together in a physical sense because it is a smaller campsite. However, there has been a lot more hostility in this camp, so it's nice to see them voluntarily choosing to be together, voluntarily choosing to hang out, and not arguing either. Like right now we see Aliana and Natalie finally talking to each other, and it does seem awkward, but it doesn't seem hostile or angry. And then we also even see Fabio coming over to Eliza and cheering her up. He kind of noticed that she was sad in the corner, and he goes and cheers her up, tries to give her a bit more confidence. So it's really nice to see that going on instead. And I feel like maybe, who knows, this tribal council could have been good for them. Getting Erwin out, he was always angry and kind of causing arguments. Maybe that was where a lot of the hostility was from, and who knows, maybe it's better for them and they're able to work together, and we'll see if it really paid off when it comes to this luxury competition, but most importantly the immunity competition, because you got to remember last week they won the luxury competition. That's why they're able to come inside and have this kitchen and everything, but they did not win immunity, so it's kind of tricky. We'll have to see how it lasts throughout the week, but as of right now it looks to be going in a good direction. Things do, I mean, they obviously are still a little bit awkward with everyone. Like, Eliza and Fabio did try to woohoo once, but didn't end up happening. And it looks as though Fabio was cheering her up and then tried to flirt with her, and that didn't go over too well. We do have Aliana and Natalie getting along, even though they voted for each other last week. But who knows if they're really able to make up for the lost time and actually fully start building relationships and not just keep going after each other. I don't really know. Johnny and Brian have never been too close, and it doesn't look like they're going to get much closer because out of nowhere, even though everyone's in a good mood, Brian decides that he's going to steal from Johnny. What? I don't know. Like, he doesn't really have anything even in his pocket. Maybe he thinks he has the hidden immunity idol. I don't know, but instantly they're angry with each other. They're enemies with each other. There is like a physical altercation, even though it doesn't really show it, but they do end up having bruises. And Johnny does eventually fight him again. Once he kind of figures out everything that's happening. And they were doing so well. And then of course, instantly it plummets into arguing. I think that's kind of just what the green team is at this point. But yeah, as you can see, Johnny is covered in bruises, even though we didn't technically see him get injured at all. So I'm not going to be kicking anyone out because of physical altercations. Like, no, you die or you get voted out. That's pretty much it. But Johnny goes to the gym. He works out the rest of his anger there. And I don't think that the two of them are going to be able to just get over this. But let's go ahead, let's go across the street over to the Red Nookstone tribe, and we're going to see what they're doing, how everything's going over there. They have a full 8-member tribe, however, they're still not allowed inside of their building or anything like that. So they are suffering a little bit. I'm sure they're probably going to get sunburnt here pretty soon, standing outside for so long. But let's see how they're coping. Everyone seems to be enjoying the afternoon, getting along, enjoying their hobbies. However, it doesn't take too long until Nervous lights the grill on fire and is instantly engulfed in flames. Everyone's kind of freaking out, but not too bad, as most of the team ends up getting together and putting him out pretty quickly. But yeah, doesn't take very long until something ends up in flames in this game. I think it's actually kind of funny that Tina was the one to get out the fire hydrant and to put Nervous out, because Tina won season 2 of Survivor Australia, and in that season a guy was actually medically evacuated because he passed out over the fire and fell into it and severely burned himself, and it was a crazy scene. Look it up on YouTube. It's pretty wild. He actually ended up coming back and competing, but I just think it's funny that like that was her season and she ended up being the sim to put him out. I love that kind of stuff that happens in The Sims when you do, like when you put people you know in The Sims. I love the storylines it creates, and I love when it's like a parallel. Yeah, just so good. Of course, there's a really awkward bathroom befuffle. Nina is using the bathroom. Meanwhile, Bella is going in there, I think to talk to her or something. And then Nervous is going in there because he just got burned alive and needs to shower. I think if anything, like, Nervous has the right to be in there. But everyone gets awkward, stands around and looks at each other, and then ends up just leaving. And Nervous is left stinky, unfortunately. Everyone is kind of separating back into their little pairings. As we see, Bella and Nina have gotten pretty close to one another. However, if you know Sims lore, if I was Bella, I wouldn't trust Nina all that well. But they're getting really close. And then, of course, you have Tina and Jenna getting close. So all the girls are kind of friendly with each other as well. And then you have the boys. Cochrane and Nervous are extra close right now. They're really bonding with Brant. And then Rich is kind of friendly with everyone, but there does seem to be almost a boy-girl divide going on right now in camp, and who knows if it's going to stay that way. I mean, when this tribe first started, there was like a winners townie sort of separation. Now there's kind of a boy-girl separation. They're always kind of separating into little cliques. And I think it'll continue that way until they eventually do go to tribal council. But who knows? Maybe they won't until the merge. We'll have to find out. But yeah, I don't know. As the sun begins to set on day 5, it seems as though everyone starts to eventually gravitate more towards the campfire. Of course, Tina's there. That is her stomping ground. She's in control of that little area. So she's planted nicely on her log. Everyone's kind of going to her, and then of course Rich kind of owns where the beds are. I think it's because he's self-woohooed in every single bed, but he owns that little area. So it's interesting to kind of see them what Sims decide to go where. But of course in the nighttime, most of them end up going towards the fire. But we do have Nina and Rich kind of strategizing, getting along. I do think he has kind of a nice connection with the girls, especially with Bella, obviously. The two of them have a nice special connection. But it's actually kind of weird that you don't see Brant and Jenna kind of get along more, since was it Jenna or was it Brant and Bella? I don't really remember, but Brant had hooked up with one of the girls like in the first episode, and it's surprising because you don't really see him with the girls very often. He's a lot more around the guys, which makes sense since he's gay. But I think that's just kind of interesting. There isn't really a love connection with him, even though that happened. And I love that Nervous is still burnt, still smelly, but still just casually playing with the fire. He hasn't learned his lesson at all. He doesn't seem to care. And he isn't nervous about the fire whatsoever, which is just so surprising. I definitely see Rich, Bella, and Nina kind of forming some kind of alliance. I feel like it's like Rich's angels or whatever, and they're the two girls that are gonna like work with him and then stab him in the back once they get the chance. I definitely think they're using him for all he's worth, and he is really good at the game so far. I mean, he was the sole reason why they won immunity last week, so I would be trying to get on his good side as well. He does seem to get aggravated with them a little bit. Maybe they don't do exactly what he says all the time, but I think he knows that they're probably his best bet to stick with as well. So I think I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for the three of them. And then, of course, there's the two of Tina and Jenna, which who knows, maybe Brant will work his way in there as well. The only people I don't really see in an alliance fully is John Cochran and Nervous. I think the two of them, if they don't get together, they really need to find which side of camp they want to go to pretty soon.
Oh, thank goodness.
Day 5 is officially coming to a close. We see that some of the Sims have ended up going to sleep. Bella ends up going over to the campfire with Jenna, and Tina and all of them kind of reside and playing with the fire, telling stories with one another and kind of having some fun. I do really like the girls in this tribe. I feel like they could stick together if they really wanted to. I feel like there's like too much animosity and friction within the green tribe for the girls to stick together, but who knows, potentially these 4 girls could become something later on down the line if they all make it through. We'll just have to wait and see and find out. When it comes to Tina and Rich, I just don't believe a bond with them would be very genuine. I mean, they're both kind of the leaders of their side of camp. I think they're the main like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. They control the camp and they're kind of in charge and they're kind of the leaders. And no matter if they want to stick together because they are, you know, the most powerful and they're able to, and even if they do get along, I can't help but think that eventually they'll have to go against each other and it'll be the two of them. It'll be Rich versus Tina, no matter how much they want to fake that it's not that right now. And that's probably what the 3 of these guys, Bella, Nervous, and Jenna, are talking about. I mean, all the kind of young people on the tribe, I think, are kind of looking and watching and seeing what's happening with the older members of the tribe. And, I mean, everyone's kind of playing nice to both sides, kind of flip-flopping, apart from Jenna, really. She kind of has chosen her side of the argument. But I think all of them definitely know that they need to stick together and that if they don't want to be overran by them, that they need to keep the numbers. So I see the young kids kind of working together as well. We see Nervous head to bed and Jenna and Bella really start to bond. So I really like the threesome of like Nina, Bella, and Jenna. I think that's really fun. But this pretty much wraps up day 5 here on the Red Neckstone tribe. I am actually going to swap over to Oasis. We're going to check on Irwin for a little bit. Now, I'm not going to promise that every single week you'll get tons of footage of Oasis, especially because there isn't many castaways most of the time. But since it is just now starting and it is fresh, I thought I would show you what Irwin has been up to since he's spent 1 full day in Oasis now. Now, as a reminder, this lot is available on the Sims Gallery at Singleton RW. Check it out. I think it's just called, actually, it might be called Do-Over Desert instead of Oasis. But I would check on that. I'm not too sure. I need to look. But as we see, Irwin is swimming in the pool. He's relaxing. I'm honestly surprised he's not skinny dipping since he's all alone. He easily could, but I guess it's just not his thing. But he has so much he's able to do here. He's been planting and gardening, and There's he can even get out and he washes his dirty clothes now that he's able to do that. There is fresh water and stuff like that here, and power. So he has all those luxuries already available to him. He lights his own campfire for the night and ends up talking to himself mostly. I mean, that's kind of what he did in camp normally, but now he has to all the time because he has no one else to talk to. So that's kind of what he's doing most of the time, is just standing there talking to himself, which I can relate. I mean, I'm kind of doing that now, so. One thing that does annoy me is that I'm guessing it's because he has that like unlocked button Strangerville shirt that I gave him to wear, but whenever he's shirtless, he still has like that white ring that appears like coming out of his skin. It looks like he has like a pacemaker or like some kind of machine underneath his skin that's going off, like his phone is going off, but it's inside his chest. It's really weird, it's really distracting, and I don't know how to get that to go away. I think it's the shirt, but I'm not sure. But he eventually does finish up the conversation with himself, and he goes into the bedroom and self-woohoos all alone on the bed. That was the like the exhibitionist that I thought he was going to start doing. Like, I'm like, how are you going to be by yourself in the middle of a desert in a beautiful oasis and not do some sort of exhibitionism? So he eventually does whip it out, self-woohoo by himself in the bed before he goes to sleep, and calls it a good night. So he's kind of living the best life. What do you guys think about Oasis? What do you guys think about the day's events and everything like that? Of course, let me know all of that down in the comments below. I respond to everyone. I love hearing what you guys think. But of course, we do have to get to the main bit, the main chunk of meat of today's episode, and that is going to be today's luxury competition. So everyone's coming first thing in the morning on day 6. The red team's getting their first look at the green team, seeing that Erwin is gone, and of course none of them know about Oasis. But we are here to compete in their second luxury competition. Hopefully Red could win their first luxury competition today, but we'll have to wait and find out. But today's luxury competition is called Power Up, and that is actually what the prize is going to be. So if the red team wins, they will have access into their building, but they will also get power. Same for the green team. They will get electricity into their building, so everything will be lit up at night. They'll have air conditioning, heating, and stuff like that to keep them neutral, because the weather in the desert does get a bit crazy. It gets hot and cold, and we do have all seasons, so even though it is hot right now, it will be getting cold pretty quickly, and that'll be nice to have. The competition itself is pretty easy. Everyone will start at the same time, and they're all going to start tinkering and building little robots, building whatever they can on the little desk, and whatever team can do it the longest wins. It also comes down to what they get out of it, how many scraps they find, if they get anything put together, how much it all is worth when it's put together at the end. So we'll see how it all goes, but this really is going to be a tribe competition. It takes the whole tribe today to win. So unlike the immunity competition, you know, over half the team can't quit and someone else can pull it off. I mean, everyone is really going to have to find pieces, use their time, and try to have the best total at the end of this thing. And they might have been practicing at the bar, in their wood carving station, but this is not a hobby that is at their campsite, so no matter what they've been practicing, it doesn't really help in this competition. Everyone's at the same level, and everyone's hitting themselves with hammers, things are exploding in their face. Like, this is a dangerous competition, and I'm pretty sure some of these guys are going to walk away with injuries. It looks like Bella has gotten hurt. She's upset. I think she peed herself. And she stinks, and she has decided to quit the competition. So the red team is now down 1 member. However, since the green team was already down a member, they're now even. So as you see, Bella has gone upstairs. She's kind of resting up there. Meanwhile, everyone else is still working as hard as they can, wearing a mask, using a blowtorch to put some of their pieces together, seeing if that will raise the cost of what they're getting, trying to find any scrap metal, hammering away, doing whatever they can, trying to earn as much money and use as much time as they can as well. However, no one else seems to quit. Everyone else is going as hard as they can until their task is complete. So pretty much everyone finishes up at the same time, which I was kind of worried might potentially happen. That's always the case for some of these. So you always need kind of like a round two. And that's why I said that whoever had the most in their pockets, however much what everything they made was worth, would be the real winner. So I had to go around to each and every team, see what they had in their pockets that was in their pre-competition, like wood carvings and stuff like that. See what kind of metal pieces they had to gather together to put up and find. I sadly didn't film everything that was in everyone's pockets and stuff like that. So you'll just have to trust me on the winner. Rigged. It's rigged. But I did have the notifications that were on the notification wall once they finished the task. That kind of helped a little bit as well. So adding up all of those scores and putting it all together, doing a little computer work, a little brain power, I figured out the winner. And congratulations. The green Nookstone oh wait, you're actually the Sand Trap. Fuck. The green Sand Trap tribe. You have won your second luxury competition in a row. So not only did you already unlock your house, but now it is full of power. You don't have to work out in a dark, gloomy shipping container anymore. It'll have light bulbs in there. You can see what you're doing for once. There's air conditioning. So hopefully this might actually help you with the next immunity challenge, but it didn't last week. We'll have to see if it does any changes this week. But that wraps up our luxury competition. Unfortunately for the red team, they're going home again empty-handed. Maybe it'll give them a boost of inspiration to win the immunity again, but maybe this could be another nail in the coffin, and that they're, maybe they're upset they're still having to live outside. It's kind of fun. I like that the red team has such a big, luxurious campsite, but they're not winning any of the luxury competitions. Meanwhile, the tribe that had the small, tiny, kind of crappy campsite is the one that's winning them all. So maybe that's where their inspiration comes from when it comes to these competitions. Who knows? But we are going to check out how they enjoy their power for a little bit before we wrap this episode up. As you can see, there's so many people in the gym now that the power is on in there and there's air conditioning in there. It's a lot more enjoyable environment for them to actually go in. So we see Aliana is even meditating in there. I mean, everyone's using the equipment. So that's kind of everyone's big plus. I mean, Fabio, that's where he goes straight away as soon as he gets into the tribe campsite, whatever. And then we actually end up seeing Aliana get attacked by bugs. So even though they have power and housing, they are not free of the stuff like bugs and bats and everything like that goes along. They still have negative lot traits, and those are going to change for a really long time. So, you win some, you lose some, I guess. We see Vesepia is back at the bar, bartending. She's getting super good at it. I honestly really do think she needs to start doing other hobbies as well, but she has pretty much almost mastered the bartending skill, and she's constantly doing it, even though no one's even there hanging out with her. Everyone actually seems to be a bit sick. We see that Brian is kind of nauseous. Eliza's a little bit nauseous. I'm not too sure what they're sick from. There is trash all over the place, but now that they have power and everything, some of them will finally be able to start picking some of that up and actually cleaning. And we see Natalie ends up going into the gym and seeing what everyone else is up to. And just like Aliana, she is not safe, even though they have power and everything, because she gets attacked by bats. Bats. I bit my tongue when I said that word. La, la, la. So yeah, this gym looks like the most dangerous place on the campsite. I mean, 5 minutes ago, Aliana was getting swarmed by bugs, and now Natalie's getting bit by bats. So this luxury competition, I don't know. I don't think any of them are really filling the luxury right now. We see that Natalie is outside painting while Eliza is moaning and complaining and feeling nauseous and sick. So who knows what's wrong with her? She really needs to go lie down. And then eventually Johnny actually does end up coming and joining Natalie and ends up helping her paint. And I think that's kind of the best way that Natalie has been able to form relationships is through painting. She did the same thing with Vesepia, and now she's doing that with Johnny. And of course, like I've said a billion times, I really want Johnny and Natalie to kind of have a little relationship, a little flirtmance, a little showmance, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. We'll just have to wait and find out, but Natalie could potentially get that with anyone. Everyone else ends up like wrapping their night up. We see Fabio and Brian kind of having a conversation that seems to be going pretty well. I like that Fabio tends to be the person to go comfort people, see if they're feeling okay, and try to make them feel better. He did that with Eliza earlier. Now he seems to be doing that with Brian now that he's sick. And I think, the boys, Johnny, Brian, and Fabio, they're a force to be reckoned with. But I think now that Brian and Johnny are kind of feuding, Fabio's kind of stuck in the middle. And who knows, maybe he's going to pick Brian's side. Since he is a fellow winner. Everyone else ends up wrapping up the night. Eliza goes to bed. Aliana takes a shower. And Vesepia continues bartending. But that pretty much wraps up this episode. I'm going to end up wrapping it up here. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this was a little bit all over the place. I feel like I was a little bit all over the place in this episode. I felt a little bit off. I don't know if that picked up on here or not. Let me know down below, of course. I love hearing criticism. I love hearing anything that you guys think. Let me know down below. Of course, all of these lots, all of the casts are available on the Sims Gallery at Singleton RW. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Sims Hot Dogs, SIMS HOTDOGS. I don't know why spelling that like messes me up so bad. Maybe I'm dyslexic and I just didn't know. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I announce like if anything, like if a video is going to be late, which none of them have been, thankfully, but if anything goes up, or you'll see when I'm making a video, all that kind of stuff, you'll get a lot of updates on Twitter. And then, of course, you can follow me on TikTok at hotdog799, and I post clips and trailers, and I might even start doing recaps on there as well. So check that out. And apart from that, I'll see you guys on Wednesday when we see how the tribes are coping. We'll see if the luxury of having power ends up helping the green team out a little bit more. Who knows? And then, of course, we'll have our second immunity competition where we will see which tribe wins immunity and will be safe from the second tribal council. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.